Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hawkeye trading session. Today is December 17th, Thursday, December 17th. And trading the foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in the foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trade taken during the live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose. And before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And with that, we'll go to the charts. And we did have a US yen alert at 7:30. We'll go to that chart. Let me get my chart switched over here. And with the Euro US, can everybody see my chart?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, we had the alert. I had the alert at 7:30 this morning. I have it on 15-minute chart. It was a descending wedge, and you can see where I've got it, where it's sliding, sloping. We had a nice down move. We had a little basing, and now it's looking like it's trying to break out the bottom. I did take it on this 15-minute candle when it did break. I did take this trade. We are waiting. It did come down. It made a little bit of profit. Right now, it's still sitting back and forth. This could be a head fake. It is sloping down, so maybe another opportunity to take a short, maybe take another position up in this area. But right now, our moving averages on the 15-minute are all showing in the right direction. And if we look and see where we have the 15, the 13, and the 5 all moving, pointing down, and our 30-minute period is up here, which was tested overnight last night. Now, one thing I'm starting to do is take note of where the London session opens. And if we take the buys of the candles from the high of the London set or the overnight session to the low and see where the London opens up, and once it kind of breaks that, this is the 15-minute candle that broke that, and I like that. That was a nice break, and so that's the one we're looking at to see if we can get a couple pips out of it. So we did have a nice break, pulled back up to this area, and now we're looking to see if we can get a target down here of somewhere around the 102.93 area. If not, my stop is up here at the top of a breakout of this. It's a relatively steep sloping wedge. So you could get another little, actually I'm gonna move this thing up just a little bit more, just up to where that A is. That'll give me a 12 pip stop. This looks like this, to me, this looks like this could be more of a trap area from where the C is to the top of the wedge. And we'll just see how that plays out. Looking at a lower time frame. Look at our 5-minute chart. And it's pretty much the same story. Now these are down here at the bottom. They'll see how these RSIs can pop up, see if they'll come back and hook. And we'll take a look at our 5-minute or our 1-minute chart. These don't work very, yeah, that's okay. And you can see that we're pretty much coming, my target area is right here where there's a 5 and 15-minute fib line right here. So we'll see, we do have the trap, and we do have, right now it's hanging right around this 5-minute Fibonacci. We had a nice little break, came back, tested, went back, did a little head fake here, came back, tested it. Now it's retesting this whole area right in here. So we'll see if it has enough strength to the downside. We are getting a little bit of a hook. We did get the consolidation of our moving averages. And we'll just play it out and see what happens. And let's see, what else do we have here? It's coming back up. See if it's going to come up into the trap. Set the traps and see if the price will come into it. Now, as you see, this is sloping down. So as the prices come across the chart, we can start moving this thing down just a little bit to kind of follow the top of this this wedge. And we'll just tuck this in right here at the top where the C is. We'll lock that. And let me go and I'll put that trend line underneath this BD area. And we'll measure out 2 pips. And so 103.03, so we'll put to 03.01. There's our 2 pip area. We did get a nice break. Did get closed below. This wedge itself is not real wide, I don't believe. Let me see. We have from the top of the wedge to the bottom of the wedge, we're only looking at 5 or 6 pips. So, and I said we're pretty much already at a low end of the charts. If you go to a higher time frame, and we'll see where this the last time the price came down to this level, and we'll check out and see where it is reference to our target zone. We'll come up to a higher time frame, 4 hours, nothing there. Daily, nothing there. This looks like it broke a daily that from back in November. And let's go with a weekly, see if we can find something here on the chart. This is all the way back in March where we had look at this nice big wick. This is a weekly wick. Right now we're in the middle of this zone right in here. Let me just draw that wick out and see where that falls. That's where the potential of this move to the downside could go, possibly. Let's see where the top of that is. It's a long way down there, to say the least. All right, now the price is up into the trap. Right now, I think this is once we get right now we have some strength on the 5-minute or RSI or RCS tools. Says we have some strength on the dollar, but they'll keep flipping around. And let's see, Euro, US yen. And I'm looking, this is a possible pullback, but I think it's going to probably come back and retest this area here. So I'd be okay with taking the trade, taking it short right here and waiting for a little pullback. I'm not going to go for a lot. I'm not sure there's even enough room to take a trade, actually. From here down to the bottom, there's 10 pips, 11 pips. We'll take a shot at it. You see, even though the price is up here, my fill with the market order is all the way down here. That's
Well, that's a
probably,
lousy fill.
that's a lousy fill. That was a market order while it was way up here. That's a three pip spread on that fill.
Wow. More than double the spread.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let me see if I can. Let me just try a sell limit and see if that might make a little difference here. Sell limit at 103.06, we'll call it. 103.06. 103.0.
Past it.
I should be able to get one right here. I should be able to get a fill right here.
Yeah. I think you did. You have 2 hours, 2 red hours.
Actually, you know what it may have been is that it once I did the fill, it averaged out and put me into one spot right here.
Oh. Okay.
I think that's what happened there. But I still like this area. We still keep our stop up in this area, and our target's still going to be down below.
I don't know, but is it possible, Al, that because it was a market order and it's come down a bit already, that there are more people trying to get in it, so they gave you a worse fill? Or that's just
That's hard to say.
okay.
I really think it's probably more the fact I did take it short here. If I took another order, I'll see oftentimes that what do it will average them out and give you what your average price is. And I think that's what happened there.
Okay, well, better than where you are, right?
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Actually, I need to. Looks like we had a little bit of alert for a West Texas crude here. Hang on just a second.
Here's the nemesis.
Going long on the oil. Looks like the U.S. CAD is probably going long as well. I'll take a peek at that one. We had that one in here as well.
Is the U.S.
Oh, the
strong?
dollar. Actually, the CAD's getting strong. Yeah, oil's going up. So if oil goes up, then Canadian goes down because of oil's getting stronger.
That was funny. I was thinking the same thing, Ava.
Yeah.
What's that? The U.S. is getting strong?
No. Like that the CAD was, it was going down because the CAD was getting strong.
Oh, okay.
But then I was like, believe me, sometimes I make plenty of mistakes. That's why we
I
get
just had a
along.
notification that Bitcoin went over 23,000.
My word.
Yep. It's moving right along, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's a wild and crazy time, I guess.
Yeah, so everything's happening it's going to be there's going to be some flexibility in the market here, especially with the financial worlds as they consolidate and try and figure out where everything's going to go with the dollar. Everything hinges on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And when the people lose faith in the dollar, they lose faith in the administration that controls the dollar. Then they start looking for other avenues. And so I think you're going to be looking at cryptos are going to be a real player in 2021. This was the overnight. This was the overnight. Nice drop in the overnight. This is where the London session opened, and looking at seeing a nice if we get a close on this one, we would maybe be looking to go short on this. I'd like to see a 15-minute close on this candle. And see where actually the wedge is expanded a little bit, but right now I'm looking at this box right here. This was a very narrow box basically when London opened up, there was really very little movement on from the London session. That's this green line right here. It's where London's opened. Here is where we had the alert. Here we just got a 15-minute close candle on this, and we could be looking at as it comes back up, we could be looking at taking this thing short. We have to give it a good stop. I'd give the stop at least on the other side of this zone here. So 10,000. And we'll go with as this comes back up. We'll see if we can get a fill here at the 127 area. Take profit 7, and we're going to go with a sells limit. And we're going to see if this thing holds. Then be 1.27. And we'll put the order in on that. We'll see if we get a fill. See how our our US yen's doing. Came out up into the trap. Now it's back into the wedge. And on the 5-minute, this is still kind of pointing up, or this is coming up to the extreme right here, the 75 to the 89 area. We don't have the hook yet on the 1 minute. Take a look at our 5-minute. And we'll keep an eye on it. Let's see US yen. Let's see, it's still showing some strength to the upside. And this may have already been. This is the same. I do this the same way as I did with the CAD. Here's the here's the overnight high. Here's the overnight low. Here's the London session. Draw your box around that area, and when it breaks out of the bottom, take your trade. Use the other side for your stop, and then just go for 20 pips. Actually, I'll put this up. I'm going to give this one a little bit more breathing room. 12 pips. And look at our Canadian trade. Looks like we did get filled here on this pullback. And I'll keep my stop on the other side of this London session high. And our target's down here.
When you picked that take profit, was it because you had something I didn't? I may
There's
have been
probably
down writing. Okay.
Well, actually, this one was just a straight 7 pips, but you'll probably find there's probably a fib line in here. Let me get these fibs turned on. We have a the 15-minute fib lines. I like seeing where the 15-minute fib lines are. And let's see, we have I think this is a blue fib line here. Nope, that's not. That's the target. Let's see, where's the blue fib line?
The blue one's up at.
There's a blue one
Yeah,
here.
there's
So
a
there's the
green
blue
one.
one up there. And then there should be, there's a red one. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, okay.
So here's our red 15-minute. Here's our blue 15-minute.
The green looks to be where your price is.
And
right above it.
let me put the 5 minutes on. We'll see where the 5-minute lies. Now I got the 15s marked. And this should be the 5 minutes. That's 2 minutes. Let's get the 5 minutes on here. And there's a blue. Here's our red. Remember being on the, this is Canadian dollar. So this is a 5-minute red. Here's a 5-minute green down here. I'm trying to dash these lines so it doesn't get so confusing with the 15 minutes.
Yeah, I find that helpful. Thank you.
Yes, I'm really only going for 7 pips on this. So if we look at the protection here, see where 7 pips are, it should be 26.93, which is right where I've got it. So we're good. Anybody in the audience have any attendees have any questions, comments, anything they'd like to ask or look at?
I'm going to have a look at the RCS, see if I can see anything interesting in there.
Okay, thank you. And so right now we're still status quo on the US Canadian. So we're looking at the US CAD and we're looking at the US yen. Did break out of our trap area. Again, this is still the overnight range in here before the London session opened.
Why don't we have a look at the Euro Canadian? The Euro is quite strong, and there's the Canadian is down in the lower half of the RCS.
The Euro and Canadian. Say we got the Euro strong on all the 30, 15, and 5, and strong to the Canadian, pretty much the same range. Nice little spread on that. Let's take a look at that one.
That looks like a good one, Ava.
Yeah, it looks good.
Go pin that. Let's check some news here real quick. We do have some British news at 7 o'clock, which we should be well past that now. 8:30, we have a little bit of Canadian news, nothing real major. So we may be in a relatively tight range until we get through something. These are orange folders, which usually don't have nearly the impact, but no, they can. So really, we may be in a little bit of a range between now and 8:30, which we're just about there now. And so we went the Euro Canadian. Let's take a quick peek at this real quick, see where we're at. We may get stopped out on this possibly. I'd probably be a little safer having my stop up here, but I don't want to give it too much room because if it breaks it to come up here, maybe take a little better position to go short. So I'll leave my stop right where it is, either takes it or it doesn't. Same way with the yen. I still like the stop above where the A level is. I probably could move my trap up a little bit higher. It was a nice drop. Come back up halfway, basically, maybe retest this area. I'll still give it that room. If it breaks through this, it's probably going to come up here. And actually, I might bring my stop down just a little bit here. Now I'll take it right to the bottom of the box. I'll just keep that there, 12 pips. That's still a reasonable risk level. And so now we're going to be looking at the Euro Canadian. Let's duplicate this.
Could be heading up.
And the euro was strong, so Euro CAD, Euro.
Up.
Right
There you go.
There we go. Here's our 15-minute. Let's draw this out on a 15-minute chart, see where our range is.
It's currently testing an area that was reached on the 7th of December. Well, it was reached, actually, I'm wrong. Most recent was the 16th, but I'm looking back a little further.
I do like here with this, here's a high, we'll check out our box before our London session opens up. And we did have a 15-minute break above that. London session was at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's kind of like testing that 155.60 from, I think, like what you're saying, Ava, right? From the 16th, the day before.
Yeah. And the last time it was tested before that was the 7th of December. So this is like the third major hit on it. The price point.
So this is the highest body of the overnight high. This is the lowest body before we get to the London session. It would be right here. 15-minute. Actually, there's a little bit of a head fake there. Testing this little methodology a little bit. Then would be given a 50 pip stop. Let's see where that would be. So if we broke out here, 50 pip stop is going to be way up to this area.
50 pip stop?
Well, that would have been basically off of this break of this area. So basically what the one philosophy is that when you have the overnight session,
okay,
and you have the high and the low before 3 o'clock, which is when the London opens up,
right,
you put a line above at the body of the highest candle,
right,
you put a line at the body of the lowest candle right there.
okay.
And when you get a 15-minute break, you take the trade and you have a 50 pip stop. So it'll be off of this candle right here. So 50 pip stop would take us all the way up to right about in the 55.80. So it's going to be right there.
Huh.
So we would put a stop up here.
That looks like a good trade, Al.
This one?
Yeah.
To go long or short?
Long.
Well, it looks like it'd be to go long, but I was just referencing some of the other strategies that are out there. And this would have been the break to go short with a 50 pip stop. Now it looks like this thing could come up and take that stop out. I do like this more to the long side than I do to the short side where we had now the break. This is almost like a little head fake right here. I don't think there was 20 pips to be had in this.
I don't think so. It's just creating more of a coil.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about being so late. I ran into some computer problems for the last 20 minutes. I didn't think I was going to be able to get in.
Now this looks like you would be perhaps with this break right here. Now we did not have an alert. This is just basically something we were looking at for trying to find some trades off the RCS tool. This is where this one came from, where we had the euro was strong here with the CAD, looking at the euro strong in all three of these time frames, nice spread here, nice spread here. So the euro trade to the euro strength, which makes a lot more sense at this point to take this break. But I'd only be looking at maybe getting up here to this target. But this does look like a nice little trade there.
Yeah, that's out of the chute too. Look at the 513.62. Look at the moving averages. Look at everything. Just the way it's setting up, it just looks perfect.
Yeah, it looks very nice actually.
Just had another alert.
Oh, okay. Thank you. U.S. Swiss, 830. Well, we'll keep an eye on this one. We'll see if we'll put a target here on the. This was a break right here. Came back in, broke this overnight box, and we'll see if it comes up and tags us. We'll just put a little alert here and see if it hits the target. It's that 20 pip target.
You know, last night I heard news on the Swiss that they were saying that the U.S. accused the Swiss and cheapers
Well, the U.S. accuses
manipulating manipulating their price.
currency.
Yeah, currency.
Apparently we do.
Oh,
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Many years ago there was a big thing, right? Like maybe like
2014.
Okay,
2014. It
Yeah.
dropped like 1,000 pips in a day.
right.
Actually, Dassan even said that last weekend in his call, that the Swiss and the yen get manipulated. And
Yes,
that's
they do.
careful of using them with variable for that reason.
So here is the U.S. Swiss chart. We had the alert at 8:30.
And that looks good for short, eh?
And it was an ascending wedge. So ascending means going low to high.
Yeah.
Pretty strong move up, basing with a strong move down. This is an interesting one.
This is an interesting one, Al.
Because we have right now we had some strong moves. We had some strong move last night overnight.
Tonight, yeah.
Yeah, I had 2 trades that went in profit last night. I don't usually hold them, but I'm testing a new product, so it was good.
Yeah, I heard someone else say that it was really good last night with the new product.
I just kind of set it and forget it, and because I'm not going to be staying up all night, especially with a teething baby.
not. Why not?
Well,
You're up anyway.
You're up with
listen.
the baby anyway.
Oh, it's
Exactly.
unreal. Since he started teething, it's just like every hour he's just wah, wah, wah.
Poor little guy.
Oh, I know. And all he wants to do is be hugged and cuddled.
Don't we all?
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Not even when we're teething.
That's true. We're not even teething and we need that, especially nowadays.
I don't see the wedge on this thing. It's basically I see more of a rally basing, and questions is going to break through here. I'm going to. Here's where the alert was.
I would want to see a bounce at the top of the wedge, Al.
Yeah. I'm looking to see where I'm going to mark our London session open here at 3:00. Let's see what our references is once London opens. So here's when London opened, it popped it up. So here's our range for the London session. So we have a low here, and we have a high here. And I think this might be a good thing to be looking at when as we draw these wedges, see if we get the break. And this is U.S. Swiss. Let's see what some other things look like on this. We have all of our RSIs, our moving averages. There's a 30, 15. We have the crossover. We're getting the crossover of the 5 back over on the 15 minute. If we get a break here, it might be worth taking this one short.
I'm going to check.
Get pressure to the downside.
What do we got here?
And I would say,
I like it short.
I see a lot of downward pressure on this.
I like it short.
Yeah.
I think we miss the the best opportunity to go short. So I would be of the opinion that I'm not going yet. I'm going to wait a little bit. I need it to come up again maybe hit the 30-minute 62, then I'll go short. The 30-minute 62 is right there, Al.
Well, we got the 30 and we have the 15 all right here.
Yeah, so I
And
needed to hit one of those.
It bounced off the 15.
It might hit the 32 because I'm expecting a big snapback before it continues in the same direction we were going.
So you're expecting a little bit of a head fake up here.
I am, sir. I am. So if I see that, then that's going to be my kind of green light to pull the trigger. So, because we've seen it happen too often, right?
Yeah,
it just breaks a little bit out and then it goes in the other direction, and this will melt.
And this is a rather strong little zone here. We have 262 moving averages at different time frames all sitting here right here in this little parallel box. And the zone of that box is going to be basically, it's only 4 pips. So this is, I would identify this as a trap.
Yeah, that's a tight entry.
Let's go to our 5-minute chart.
Very wicky.
A lot of wicks in here. A lot of wicks.
Yeah, that's gross. That much wickage is something that would get me to not even take the trade. This is almost to the point where you don't want to mess around with it.
Here we do have a pivot. Here's a little bit of a hit as it came back. It was, if you look at this little pullback on this 5-minute, came back, couldn't break through there. So that's a valid hit. That sends it away. And this would be a good target area. If it does break to the downside, this would be a good target area. Here's the London session. London pushed it up, brought it back down. Now it's right back in the middle. See if it pushes it back up to retest that. It's either going to retest it to go long, or it's going to come back and retest it to drive it back down again. I'm looking at this as it gets up to the 75 and 89 area on the RSIs on the 5-minute. They get those up into that area, and we get a hook on the 1-minute that we would possibly get a nice little entry in that. Right now, we're getting the crossovers of the 5, 13, and we're getting some consolidation right in here. This came up to the top, hook down. This could be an entry to go short, possibly, right? If we can get the break of this trend line.
Yeah, I don't like it short yet, my friend. I don't like it short yet.
It's not ready yet. I don't think it's quite ready yet. I agree with that.
Still percolating.
So let's go and we'll draw another parallel trend line to this one. And we're going to move this thing 88 to 33, so 88 to 31. Oh. There's our 2-pip. There's our 2-pip sell zone.
And look, it hit it right and went away.
There's entry zone to sell.
It's interesting that it does that exactly at the 2-pip zone.
There's enough for your spread. You have a 2-pip spread.
Mm-hmm. Well, people set these limit orders, right? And that limit order would have been on what? It would have been 88.35 or what?
Limit order of to go.
Yeah, 35. Just down a little. No, okay, 34.
You mean like a sell stop you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. So those rounded numbers are kind of I've been kind of staying away from them. Like 5 and 0.
Yeah, trying to just get a little bit off of those numbers.
Yeah. I don't have enough documented proof that it makes a difference at this point, but
very familiar. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I think this is our trade. If it closes on the outside of this with a 5-minute candle close, I will be in there. But I'm going to wait until a 5-minute candle close, maybe even at 10, because of the wickiness of this currency pair right now.
So the 5-minute candle close is going to be right there.
Yeah.
At the close of this current candle will be the 5-minute close.
So we'll see what happens. But this could fake you out again.
Going back to Matt's point about staying away from the 5s and the 0s, I had a professor at OTA that he would say that your entries are, you're more like, he had entries were at even numbers and considered 5 an even number, and your targets were that, and your stops should be odd numbers. Don't know where he ever came up with that, but I'm just saying, like, it was like a big thing that he really pushed, because a lot of people gravitate to the 0s and the 5s.
Yeah,
easier
it's just
counting.
rounded.
Mhm.
I call 5 rounded, even though it's not.
Right.
Whatever you want to call 5 and 0. I just try to avoid them a little bit. Like I'll go up 1 pip more or down 1 pip more, depending on what we're doing. But I don't like 85 and 40, and I'll go like 41
Right.
or 42.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't have any numbers to
It wasn't an empirical
come
study on
back
it.
with that. No, I didn't do a whole lot of depth into that. It's just that looks break the other candle though. It needs to break that other candle. That it needs to make a new low. What did you say, Al?
Well, I took a buy stop on the when it came. I took a buy stop, but the spread got me in it right here.
So going long or short?
Short.
Oh, I almost like it long, just because of what it just did. But I'm gonna get off the 1 minute because I'm already going wacko, and it's only like 8:30 in the morning, so I can't do that to my wife.
Well, this was the close of the 1-minute candle right here. So right
5?
now this is the open. This is the open of the 5-minute candle right here.
Yeah.
So this 5-minute candle is going to close when it's going to be closed when it hits this line. And right now we have a little bit of a high, a lower. There's a high, a low, lower high, lower low. Starting to do a little bit of a trend. Here was the first pull down, retest that area, and we'll see what happens when it comes down. We do have another target over here for our target zone would be right around in this area, which is right about where my target is, the 7 pips down. And we'll look at the fib lines. Put our 5-minute lines on here. This is a red, here's a red 5 right here. It's pretty much bouncing right around the red 5. We'd like to see it come down. Actually, we'd like to see it come down, break that, come back and retest that area, then come down for the 7 pips.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Not yet.
But we do have the break of the green, came back up to test it. Now it's retesting it.
Yeah, I don't have what I need to make a solid decision at this point. U.S. Swiss has been acting kind of funky the last 2 or 3 days.
Basically, right now we have 2 wedges. We have the overnight high, which is right over here. And we have this secondary wedge inside. So my stop is well out of the harm's way. If it comes up to this far, I'll probably be getting out of it. But it looks a lot bigger than it really is, I believe. So if I got filled here, and this is only 5 pips the other side of this blue wedge up here, so I'm well out of the way. If it comes up and breaks through this red zone right in here, then I'll probably get back out of it. Trying to give it a little bit of breathing room. It's better to take a smaller position, get breathing room, than to take a larger position and get stopped out all the time.
That is absolutely true. That's absolutely true. You just make your adjustments, right?
Yep. Again, I kind of like this area for a trap area. Now, we've always been taught to take the trades on the breakout of the wedge, but sometimes I'm just not so sure that really serves the majority of the people well.
No. Sometimes it honestly doesn't.
Especially in tight ranging markets.
Let's
see, how are US CAD trades doing here? Looks like we got stopped out on that one. Where's the US yen? How are we doing on that one? That one we're still alive with. Came up here into the trap. Now it's back into the wedge. We're a little bit pretty much right at break even. Just made a little bit lower low right there. Made a little higher high. It's really trading inside this range. Still showing strength of the yen to the downside.
If it bounces at 88.40 and there's no 5-minute candle that breaks it, I would potentially take it short. There's a really big trend line right up in that area. I've got a trend line from the 16th. Yeah, yesterday. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits on that upper trend line.
You talking about like this one here from the overnight?
Yeah, especially the overnight, but keep on going back more even. It actually tags the
How about this area?
yeah.
Take this one off.
All right. So it's tagging the top of the wedge right now.
This is the wedge created from the high and the low of the London session.
That's definitely noteworthy.
And you can see actually it's like the high from this. Take this over here. We'll see here's where the high is. We have another little high. So we actually have a little bit of we can maybe have a validated trend line from here's a hit, here's a hit, here's a hit, here's our third hit. This trend line is validated as being a solid, as for the third hit coming in. So we actually have two traps, one from the London high to the next test of this box here, and then we have the one right now where it's coming in for this trend line. Let's go back to our 5-minute chart. I'm going to take this wedge off just to keep from being cluttered. We have trend lines and we have little trap areas.
I think I'm looking for it to pop its ugly head out of there and come back down. But we got a 513.62 cross, don't we?
We do
On the 5.
the 513.62.
Or at least it failed to cross, I think.
Yeah, I'm right here. And we have the 513.6. Well, we had a retest of the 62 on this 5-minute.
Okay.
Right now they're all pointing in the upward direction. Our strength is not overly exciting with the Swiss. The dollar is still a little bit stronger, but not by
It's kind of reminds me of a limp handshake. That's how disappointing this is right now.
I mean, it is right now. The dollar is still showing more strength, but it's a pretty relatively small pullback here. Take this one off. And this trap zone is, let's see what we have for distance-wise from here to here. We have 6 pips.
That's a 5-minute candle, right, Al?
This is a 5-minute candle, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see a nice pop, though. Because if it does make a higher high here, this could be the bottom, the end of that run. The end of this whole consolidation could end right here. And then we could go back into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Strong move down, strong move up, come back down, retested the low.
You see how we're doing a higher low now? And we're coming out of that higher low.
We still have this right here. It's still.
Yeah, that's an important part.
Yeah.
You see how your 62 is now going to be at the same height as your opening candle? Once we get to that area, that could be
right over
area
here
to bounce. take everyone out and then shoot down.
Yeah, this is basically the London Open right here.
Mm-hmm.
And it came down, took everybody up, got everybody out, took their stops, and now they're right back to it's right here at the Open. Let me mark that. Here's right where the London session opened. Pretty much right on this line right there. Sucked everybody in, take everybody's stops, suck everybody in on the reverse side, take their stops. So right here, this is where all the action is right in here. Everything's like a magnet coming down into this area. Yeah, I think we just need to be patient. It's almost 9 o'clock, so we have another half an hour to go, but we're coming up on our 9 o'clock, our pre-9 o'clock move.
Al, could we check back on the other trade, because I just want to see if the US CAD, to see if the 8:30 news did anything. So help maybe pop
I
it
would
up.
say it probably did.
Yeah, help pop it up.
It's popping its head out.
Yep.
But let's see.
Here's the London Open, so here's popping out.
If it goes back to London Open, that's a good trade.
Well, there again, which way did it? I'm trying to look at just the thing a little bit of what that one software system is that you check out that. Unless I'm gonna have to rewatch that video again, because so far it gave us 2 head fakes that wasn't really working out very well. It did have a strong move down, but still was well within the 50 pip range of the. That's what I'm thinking, that this could still be a short, but it's going to have a big pullback.
Yeah, it could come right up to the
Yeah,
62.
which is still validate the short side off this candle here. Just that you have to be given it a 40 pip or 50 pip stop.
Yeah, it's a little bit big for my taste.
Yeah, I don't usually like them that big either.
Nope. It means that your trade needs to go 40 pips to make whatever you risk. So in this case, 1.5%, 2% needs to go 40 pips. It's almost not worth taking the trade.
Not when you're used to using 5 and 7 pip stops.
No. Absolutely correct. Tighter your stops, more profit per pip is the goal. Sometimes you just can't do it, but as a rule, you kind of try to want to stay around that.
Here's a 9 o'clock hour. Let's see, how's my Swiss trade doing here? That's still hanging in there. We were so used to before where you were in the average trade time was 20 minutes, in and out in 20 minutes. We haven't seen that in quite a while here anymore.
No, it's just the market changed.
It's the market just changed.
Well, let's see. I'm going to chalk it up to seasonality, but
Well, this has been going on like this for several months, so it's not really the season, unless you want to look at Halloween.
yeah, Halloween, I don't think it has very much effect.
I don't think Halloween's a big market mover.
No, it's a big celebration in the retail world, but I don't see that as a big market mover. Exactly as you said, Al.
I say the markets this last quarter has pretty much been in a rather. They move all at once and then they don't move at all. Unless you're there to catch the move right all at once, then it's hard to stay on top of it. But that's why we're just going for a few pips here and there. This here Euro CAD, Euro is still showing strength, quite a bit of strength actually. So be looking at this as being a target area if you got into it on this breakdown here.
Were you in this long or short? Sorry, Al.
I didn't take this trade. This is one that we were just looking at our RCS tool.
Oh, okay.
To find some strength and some. We're just looking at this to see which currency may be worth. As we were looking for some trades, using this to look for the strong versus the weaker one, and looking at on at least 3 charts. And we decided that the euro and the Canadian was a good pair to be looking at. And that's why we looked at that one. And actually, it seems like it's really working out pretty well.
Yeah, I think
it's important to look to see when you get these alerts and when you start looking at some assessments. I think the 15-minute chart is a good chart period to look at for our in and out trades. But again, try and pick something or find something that's got the spread, because that means you've got the upward momentum.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree.
Even like with this U.S. yen, if we're looking at that overnight session on the U.S. yen, let's take a look at that again. Here was the overnight session. It broke out. When it broke out, you really didn't have a lot of strength. You did have strength on the yen to the downside, but it wasn't a huge spread. We had basically right about where this thing broke, we had a yen of about 5, and the dollar was about, let's see. When that candle closed, we had a 5, and we had enough of a spread to take it short. And actually, it still is a short on this one. So that one wasn't so bad. Take this.
Our Swiss is moving, eh?
The Swiss is. Where's the Swiss? Swiss here. Let's take a look at this one a little bit closer. 15-minute chart. Looking at our overnight session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the join off of this. You can see where this is for the overnight high and overnight low. So here's the overnight high. We'll just draw the box around this area. There's the candle of the overnight high. Find out where our 3 o'clock time frame was for the London Open. It's going to be right about there. That's the London Open. Find a body of the candle to that area. And we had the break. This is a 15-minute candle, 15-minute chart. We had the break. First thing we have to do is make sure this area here is less than 50 pips. So we have from here to here. We have 27 pips. It's well within the range. And it goes short right. We got a 15-minute candle close right on this at the 415 area. And we had the Swiss was at a 5. The dollar was at a, looks like it was at a 1. So we had strength to the, let's see, there was the strength, Swiss strength to the short. We want to have our stop. Ideally, probably want to have our stop at the other end of this this range. Let's just try this. Let's just bring it on up here. So
Look what happened to the Swiss, eh? Al? It just came up. It retested that previous high.
Yeah, retested all this. We're still out of harm's way. And we're looking for a 20 pip target. If we now, based on this philosophy, we'd be looking for a 20 pip target. So we would change this profit target to 20 pips. And we can see if we have a fib line down there. See if there's a 5-minute one anywhere close. Right there's a 5-minute fib line right here. There's a 5-minute fib line right here. We had the break, came back up, retested. I would say, and this is within a couple pips of that, so that's a good target right there. So we're just going to keep this one on and give it the breathing room and see if we can get 20 pips out of that. And right now the stop we have on this one is, it's more than our 10 pips, but it's we got 23 pips. So basically this would be a 1-to-1 trade. Now we did have a alert on this one at 8:30, so let's move this one over to 8:30. And it was an ascending wedge going from low to high. Take it to the London high, bring it back down. We'll flat top the top of this. and look for a break. We already had a break here off of the London session, the box we drew from the London session. It took a little bit of heat to the upside, but so far everything's still okay. And our moving averages are still good. We have our 30-minute, our 15 are still sitting above us, or the 30-minute 62 and the 15 62 is still sitting above us. Our stop is still out of that range. Go to our 5-minute chart. And we're about to get another break of this trend line here. Here is a little head fake, came back up, retested the 30.62. Now it's looking to come down and break it. Does this look any better to you, Matt, for a short?
Looks a lot better for a short. Significantly better. It's interesting what just a couple candles can do for the overall picture of the trade.
Yeah. And I would still be looking at this. This would still be the first target to get past right in here. We had a nice little strong move down, came back up, retested it, and then it shot up. So right here, from this move right here is where we have a lot of, the buyers came in strong right in this area. So we'll use that as a possible target area.
My bottom is a little bit lower than where yours is. So myself, I need it to break 88.34 or 35 before I take it short.
88.34 or 35. So you want to break and close. Does it have to just break or close or just break? I'll make this our target. Target 1 anyway. And if we draw a trend line off of this wedge where we had the alert, that's at 88.37, bring it down to 35. There's our 2 pips. Our spread is 1 and 1.1, so that's good. That's enough room for the spread. See if we can get a candle close. Right now, the time is, we still have 3 more minutes. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And it came right down and wicked into that area. EuroCAD, that means EuroCAD hit that target area. Just hit that target. So if you took it long, this would be the 20 pip area that you'd be looking at getting out of this thing. Or just keep it running and see how far you can go with it. I'll tell you, I like that RCS tool for finding trades.
Yeah, it's good.
They all seem to work pretty well when we do this.
Yeah, I'm in the Euro CAD myself right now.
Yeah, let's see how this thing worked out with the overnight high, overnight low area. So here was the overnight high. Here's the bodies of the candles, the overnight low. Here's London session.
That's a nice trade on EuroCAD. That's really
Yeah.
nice. That's really nice.
But this was a head fake right here on the zone on this. Let me see what was the zone on this.
Yeah, that's off to the races.
So that was only a 9 pip zone in here. So that was a very tight overnight session, and then it broke out. This one just head faked it right out of here.
Al, didn't you mention earlier you had an alert on oil? You know, and seeing the CAD was closely tied in with that.
Yeah, it was actually there was a arrow trade for oil way back just a few hours ago, and it had a pretty strong pullback, but it's almost ready to get back to break even, and we'll see what happens here. It's with the euro being strong, the CAD being weak on this one. This could give me some rise to be thinking. Let's see how the CAD's doing on the other one. I think we had a US CAD. So the Canadian dollar is getting weaker to the US dollar. And it is hitting a supply zone right now. Yeah, I think we'll close out that oil trade to go long on that, because I think right now this thing is like it may have run its course here right now. We got this 3062 that's going to have a little trouble getting through that.
It might have some trouble getting through that, Al, but it might just.
And it may just blow right through it.
It could. It's always
Yeah.
potential.
But that oil trade that I had earlier, it was bouncing off of a demand zone. It said to go short. Actually, it's given a couple different pictures on this one, actually. Actually, on the higher time frame, it basically bounced off of a demand zone, and now it's waiting to see if it's going to go higher. If it does go higher, we'd be looking at that's the wrong chart. Hang on a second. I see a little conflict of direction, so I would just close out that oil trade. Need a few dollars on it.
Well, oil is one that you don't want any doubt in whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Especially the indices, like they'll move quick, and so if there's any hesitation about the picture changing or something like that, 9 times out of 10 you're better pulling the plug.
Yeah,
looking for a better entry.
Just FYI, if anybody is trading the crude oil with LCMFX, if you're wanting to do it before, they have it now where they put the West Texas crude and the Brent crude oil on the demo charts, as well as you can trade it with a live. Just be aware that with the West Texas crude, if you hold it overnight, the swap fees can be rather excessive. For example, on a 2/10 of a position with an overnight over the weekend, it was about $217 swap fee, which is, I've never seen anything that high, but that's what it seemed. And it seems to be consistent. You're looking at about at least $18 for every 10th overnight. So just be aware that you don't want to hold that West Texas crude overnight. It's okay to trade during the day when you don't have to worry about the swap, but if you don't close it out, you could have a surprise in the morning.
And not in a good way.
And
No, a rather painful surprise.
And with that,
As Al made a profitable trade, and then because of swap, well, it was actually significantly non-profitable.
yeah, the trade yield is $75 profit, but the swap took $217 away from it. So those are little things that you learn as you start learning to trade different entities.
Oh, yeah, everything's different. Everything has a different flavor to it, and then you'll get a pretty good feel for what you feel comfortable trading or not. Like myself, I'm still not playing around with gold too much. Still not one of the places I feel comfortable.
Let's see how our Swiss is doing. Swiss is still doing okay. Still playing around here at the bottom. It's in a relatively tight range.
Now we might break out to the top because it tried to consolidate. It tried to go deeper. I don't know anymore.
Well, but keep in mind, since we had the alert, we had the alert at 8:30. It's now 9:30, and it hasn't moved more than 11 pips, which is basically 5.5 pips in either direction.
Yeah.
So. And then we had the the US yen. We had that one earlier. And that one's still working. That one's actually still materializing. It's just about ready to come in and hit my target on this one. Did take a little bit of heat when it came back up into our trap area, but came right up into the trap. And now it's breaking out of the bottom of this trend. We had a nice little move down. Took some heat. This one's just about ready to make its profit. RSIs are still pointing down on the 15. They came down into this extreme zone, came back up on the pullback, and now it's right back down, going back to retest the bottom. And it's coming right up into our 15-minute and our 5-minute trend line or fib line. And if we put a 2-minute line on here, 2-minute fib line, we may see right where it bounced, do a undershoot versus here would be the undershoot area, right where it is right now. This is our 7 pip range, or this is probably about 5 pip range, I think, 4 pips. This is the undershoot area, undershoot of the 15 and 5. So I'd be okay taking the profits anytime. And since we're just about getting ready for the U.S. market to open up, now and that may not be a bad time to say, okay, I think we'll just go ahead and close this one out.
UJ has a nice...
Took your profit.
Yeah, look at that.
Here's the undershoot. Here's the undershoot area. Undershoot is coming down into the 15 and 5 area. I do like these 15-minute fib lines. They're very significant. This is a 2-minute line right here, the screen one. Came down, that was our undershoot area of the down move. If it came back through, if it crossed through that 515, then it would be an overshoot of that area, which would be down here where this red fib line is. So we would have the undershoot. And usually that's where what happens is people start taking their profits early because they're looking at this as a target, so they jump in and take their profits early, as I just did. And then they come down and after that's given up, it goes to the overshoot area, knowing that this is a strong point. And then this would be the overshoot area by the same range. Here's our 15.5. Here's our 2-minute line. Here's our 2-minute line. You see, as soon as it came close to this 15, people started taking their profits. If you got in up here, went from green to green. You go from green to green, that's probably about 21 pips. No, that's 11 pips. There's your 11 to 12 pip target. Any questions, comments?
I'm good.
Anybody from the attendees that would like to ask or say anything? If so, just put your hand up. If not, we only have a couple more minutes before we're done here for the day. Actually, come to think of it, today's Thursday. We could go a little bit longer today.
Yes, we can.
I'm not on today.
Whatever.
What? Say that again?
Is Susan not having a session today?
Oh, today's Thursday, right?
Yes.
It is Thursday.
Yeah, she does it Wednesday.
Yeah, it
so,
was on.
yeah.
Yeah, it's yesterday.
So Thursday's the day that we can go a little bit longer. But unless somebody has some questions or comments or like to see something else, we may just wrap this thing up earlier. Since we're getting into our holiday season, we may start taking a little bit more of a break.
Festive hours.
Yeah. I think next week, I may not be around much next week. I'm not sure what your schedule is, Matt. I'll be on the road for a little bit next week.
Yeah, you know what? Because we're so close to the holiday season, maybe we'll because I don't foresee any great trades or anything trying to scrounge up pieces. It might be a good opportunity to just take some time off and focus on family for a bit or whatnot. Recoup.
I think right now I'm going to plan on being here Monday and maybe Tuesday, but from Tuesday to the end until that basically be Christmas. What day's Christmas next week? Christmas is
Friday.
on Friday.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say probably I'll try and be here Monday and probably Tuesday, and then I'll probably take the rest of the week off, and then we'll recap again on probably around the maybe one Monday session before the New Year's, and then we'll just do a reduced schedule this week and next week, and
Sounds good.
like a game plan.
so we can enjoy the holidays a little bit.
So we'll be here tomorrow, obviously.
We'll be here tomorrow, Friday, and then we'll be here Monday. And
Tuesday.
Monday may be the last day, possibly till after Christmas, and then maybe Monday, and then the following Monday, unless we have some reason to be here. As I said, I'll be on the road for a bit of that, and I just take some time with the family.
Yeah, that makes
Sounds
sense.
like a good plan.
That makes sense.
Well, I'm still in this Euro CAD.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. It did its little retrace, so I'm waiting for it to.
But since you look at it, it just came right up to that green fib line.
Oh, those fib lines.
Those darn fib lines.
I know, right? You think there's something to them?
So you can't make this stuff up.
No, I'm hanging on because it's a demand fib line. It's not a supply fib line, 15-minute. So that's why I'm still holding on until it hits my mental stop. If it hits that, then I'm out.
And Bitcoin just made 23,000.
23,000. Holy smokes, man. My buddy is laughing to the bank.
Well, it was that's up 5,000 points since last Friday or Thursday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, someone said 25,000 by the end of the year.
I think it's going to hit that. Yeah, and they're talking 100,000 within a,
Well, 100,000 is pretty.
that's like next year.
Yeah.
So. you
Well, they're
say that,
actually forecasting 318,000 by this time next year.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I think I might just buy some and hang on for the ride.
Well,
And on that note, here it is. The market is now open, and I think it's time to wrap this thing up. So
all right,
Thank
everybody.
you.
let's go and we'll call it a day. Thanks for coming in, everybody, and we'll see
U.S. Swiss
everybody
breaking
tomorrow.
up. All right, we'll
Oh,
take.
is it really? Is it? Hang on. Wait, hang on. Is it? Oh, it's just
Yeah.
breaking to the upside.
Yeah, it
a
looks like
standard
it.
range.
I
Yes,
like
it's
what
a
it
range.
just did. It
It's
was
just a
noteworthy.
range.
That's why I interrupted you.
It's maybe noteworthy, but I think it's still going to be a snoozer.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, everybody have a good day. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Have a
All
great
right.
day, everybody. Be well.
Talk to you guys later.
God
Bye.
bless. Bye.